Picture a guy named Jack, living an ordinary life, going to the office at 9 a.m. and returning at 6 p.m., barely making ends meet. One Monday morning, Jack's life completely changes. He inherits exactly $50 million from a distant relative. What does Jack do? He immediately hands his resignation to his boss. He goes out and buys a bright yellow Lamborghini that doesn't even fit in his garage. He moves into the city's most expensive penthouse. He eats at luxury restaurants every day, flying abroad on private jets just to go shopping. Life is now a fairy tale for Jack. He couldn't care less about investing, securing his future, or building a career. After all, he has so much money that it will never run out. But 10 years later, the picture completely changes. The money runs out. Jack has no skills, no profession, and no investments. The bank forecloses on that penthouse. His Lamborghini breaks down, and because he can't afford to fix it, it is left to rot in the middle of the street. Jack is now obese from eating junk food, drowning in debt, and sitting all alone in a dark, cheap apartment. We all know this trust fund kid story from movies or our surroundings. But what if I told you that the one living this exact story wasn't just a single man, but an entire country? Except what they inherited wasn't dollars in a bank account. It was thousands of years' worth of bird droppings. Welcome to history's most epic tale of collapse. Right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean lies a tiny island nation you'd struggle to find on a world map even with a microscope: Nauru. For thousands of years, migratory birds crossing the ocean landed on this desolate island to rest, using it, quite literally, as a toilet. Over centuries, this massive accumulation of bird droppings, combined with the tropical climate, slowly transformed into the world's purest, highest quality phosphate reserve. In other words, the priceless fertilizer that accelerates plant growth and serves as the heart of modern agriculture. When Nauru gained its independence in 1968, control over this colossal treasure fell exclusively into the hands of the local population of just a few thousand people. Global agricultural corporations began pouring billions of dollars into Nauru just to buy the island's soil and turn it into fertilizer. The islanders, without producing a single thing, sat upon an unbelievable fortune simply by digging up and selling the very ground they walked on. By the 1970s, Nauru shattered all global economic expectations. In terms of per capita income, this tiny island surpassed even the oil giant Saudi Arabia, becoming the richest country in the world. And just like Jack in our story, a nationwide spending frenzy began. The population stopped working entirely. The government hired domestic servants for every household on the island and completely abolished all utility bills and taxes. On an island with a single circular road totaling only 19 kilometers in length, the police force started using Lamborghinis and Porsches for their patrols. Whenever people got bored, they would fly to Australia on their own national airlines' private jets just to have dinner or do some grocery shopping. The government invested millions into a failed theater play in London and bought luxury hotels around the world, only to leave them to rot. Nobody was thinking about tomorrow, because that bizarre treasure beneath the soil kept printing money every single day. But there was a fatal problem. As the island was sold, it was physically disappearing. In the late 1990s, the inevitable nightmare became reality. The phosphate ran out. When the music stopped, Nauru woke up to a brutal shock. They had absolutely nothing left to invest in. Furthermore, because of the massive mining excavations, 80% of the island had turned into a toxic, lunar landscape full of sharp, jagged rocks. Farming was impossible. Because the people had forgotten how to work for decades and survived entirely on imported packaged fast food, an unimaginable health crisis erupted. Today, Nauru is the most obese country in the world, with a 90% obesity rate, and ranks first globally in type 2 diabetes. Those luxury sports cars rusted and turned to dust in the middle of an island that now resembled a junkyard. Today, completely bankrupt, Nauru survives by selling the very last thing it has left: its own sovereignty. Taking cash from the Australian government, they serve as a barbed wire open-air prison for unwanted refugees. This tragicomic story of greed, turning nature's greatest lottery ticket into an absolute apocalypse, proves that wealth gained without effort is actually the ultimate curse. To make sure you don't miss these mind-blowing historical stories where we expose human nature, the realities behind money, and the flaws of the system, don't forget to like this video and follow the channel right now.